It's a Pretty World. I'm so glad you're joining me. I know this is not twinning on Monday today because I'm running a little behind today as I got caught up with a few family things and I couldn't get on time to do the editing and getting the video up for Monday. That means to say it's a Tuesday. Holiday is also going to be pushed to Wednesday just for this week, so bear with me. And for the stamp set that I have used that I'm featuring for the two cards is actually called Tropical Forest from Old to New. And I also have a bonus card at the end of the video, so you can, if you have the patience to hang in till there, then you can see the third video itself. Today's card, I'm actually not going to talk more about the card itself. And as the topic or the title suggests, is card making all that is what I want to share with you today. So about 20 years ago, I mean not 20, maybe 19 years ago, a friend of mine invited me to her house, and while we were there, while I was there, she pulled out her stamp sets and she showed me how to stamp, and she created this beautiful card, and we both created one, and I got so excited about it. I came home and I told my husband that this is what she did, and it's just so fantastic, and I really liked it. It was so much fun. Anyway, and then I forgot all about it. And then about a month later, she invited me to her house to a hostess party. I didn't really know what it meant by hostess party, but she said she was a host for the Stampin' Up! Company then. This was 19 years ago, and she said she's having a hostess party where she'll show new products, new stamp products, and if you're interested, we could buy. So that was my very first hostess party that I went to, and I bought a few small products. Obviously, I did not invest a whole lot because I really didn't know much about this art itself. So I just invested in a few stamps, and I got back home, and at that time my husband and I, we really lived in a small home, small house, and we had a daughter, our very first daughter, and she was just about a year old. So whenever I would get some free time, I would actually take my stamps and I would sit on the floor because I didn't really have a place to put these things anywhere, and I would make some of these cards. And I really enjoyed the process. It was just so much fun making those cards. I wasn't giving it to anybody, nothing. And clearly I had no talent whatsoever. And I was making these cards. And I got so involved in it that I would sit on it for hours. And then as months went by, I started realizing that I'm getting these cramps on my leg, and they were really getting worse by the minute. And so we went to the neurologist, and at that point I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And so obviously I related it to stamping because the cramping in my leg, because I was sitting on the floor and working, obviously. So I related it to stamping, and so I stepped back and I said, no, I think I'm just doing it too much. And I wasn't taking it seriously, right? It was just a hobby. I had to take care of my child. Anyway, so fast forward, years passed and I did not do anything with it. I would tinker here and there, but not a whole lot. We moved from the first city we were living in to another city, and then we had a second child, and then we had the third child. When we had our third child, a boy, which was about 14 years ago, my son was diagnosed with ADHD and autism, borderline autism. So it took a lot of my time taking care of him and providing him the care that he needed. So I stepped back and I did not do much on the creative aspect or card making or anything like that. At that time, actually, Copic marker was getting familiarized in the country. So I started collecting a few Copic markers, and I kind of drew my attention from card making to coloring, and I started doing a lot of coloring, practicing using this marker, and I was really and I was still, as I said, tinkering on card making here and there. Fast forward, now my son is about 6 years old, he's in first grade, and he's starting to go to school, he's working. And one of the things he's really loving to do is coloring. And every time he starts coloring and creating, he gets so excited, he's so happy, and I love to see the joy. And I start feeling that same within myself, and I'm like, yes, I love that. It's so creative, it's so beautiful. So I went back to card making small cards, giving it to my friends, nothing too serious. And my daughters one day, my oldest one and my second one at that time, uh, said, Mom, Instagram was just coming up. So this was about 5 years ago. And they said, Mom, I think you should put your cards on Instagram. So I, just like that, I put the card on Instagram one day and I started posting and things like that. And suddenly I had this call from a company, saying if I would design it. Not, it's not really a company, it's like a forum. I can't remember the name of it. It's a lot of companies get together there, a lot of women have different forums. So it was a design team, I think it's called a dirty design or something like that, anyway. And they asked me if I would design for them for 6 months, and there were topics that they gave, and I really enjoyed it. And I was doing it, I was posting it on their website, and it was really, really fun. And then eventually there was a couple more companies who asked me to make some cards for them, do some guest designing, and I was really, really liking. And slowly I started designing for companies, and to a great extent I was enjoying it. But as the year passed, I suddenly realized that it became more of a work for me than anything else. I was getting burnt out because there were so many deadlines, getting it on time, creating things at the last minute, coming up with ideas for different companies with different stamp set. It was just getting too much, and I started realizing that I am getting to a point where I'm getting burnt out. I'm not enjoying this anymore. The creativity is gone. None of that remained. It was just work and nothing else. What it was meant to be was no more visible. So about 3 years back, I stepped back for an entire year. I took away, I did not get onto social media, no Instagram, no YouTube videos, nothing. I stepped back just to give myself some time to know what I want to do, what I really, really like to do, and I took some time, a lot of time at the time. My hands were hurting too, so I got some treatment for my hands. So again, I took some time from all the social media, from everything. And now I have started again, but this time, before I started with a why. I decided I'm not going to go into this as a creative process. Yes, it is a creative process. Yes, it is beautiful. It is a time that you put your heart and soul into. Also, everybody says card making is therapeutic, coloring is therapeutic. But when I was going through the phase of creating for designers and stuff like that, it wasn't therapeutic anymore. It was so much of a work. Now, I tried many things. I wanted to be a part of different companies. I even tried starting a chat forum, and I was very disappointed with some of the bigger names in the industry who promised that they would be a part of my forum, and they would be more than happy to come onto my chat videos and but none of that is important. What I'm trying to say is I was trying too hard to be in the front, for people to notice my work. I was working so hard that I forgot why I do this to start with, or at the first place. I completely forgot. And the reasoning completely disappeared, and it was all about visibility. I want people to notice, about maybe free product from people, from companies. And I started doing a lot of guest designing. Anyway, so I took the sabbatical for about a year and a half, and then I gave myself some time, and all I did was just coloring for my own sake, and just going through the process. And I started talking about what is the why. And for me, the why was enjoying it. I love it. It gives me the peace that I need. It is that one time where I am by myself with my thoughts, not thoughts of negativity, not thoughts of anything that is what am I going to do? What am I going to make for dinner? What are my children going to do? Who's falling sick? Who's that? Who's none of that? But my thoughts, which helps me to create something beautiful. I know the thoughts that I'm having while I'm creating it. I'm mindfully thinking of creating something beautiful. My why is to give me that happiness, the joy, and to look at it towards the end and say, wow, I made this by myself. I made this and I created it. I took time. It wasn't an agenda. It wasn't trying to get the time filled or managing calendar, none of that. The why became so powerful for me that I really started enjoying the process again, and I slowly introduced myself and I'm slowly introducing actually myself to social media. And this time I'm in no hurry. I'm in no hurry for anybody to find me or give me any products or take me on the design team. And in that, if there is an opportunity, I'm saying you shouldn't take an opportunity, but I know I'm not going to jump onto everything that's going to come my way. I know what's important for me now. I know what it means to be creative. I know what this does to me. I don't want the passion to dry. I don't want the why to go away, but I want the actual happiness that I get from creativity. And I really, really encourage you to do that too. When we get so carried away looking at other designers showing new products and we go and buy hoard these products. I myself am a culprit to that. I have so much product hoarded in my house that I haven't even used them because I see somebody making something and I'm like, wow, that's so beautiful. I want to get it. And then it comes and it just stays there. So one of the things that I'm doing with these current videos that I'm making on Mondays and Tuesdays is challenging myself to use up all the products that I have in my storage that I've never touched, I've never used, or maybe used once, to create more and create joy for myself. Again, I want to tell you at this moment, if you get an opportunity, yes, you should pounce. But I know I'm not going to pounce at every opportunity that comes my way. I'm going to weigh my opportunities. I'm going to see if my why is present in that opportunity. If my why is not present in that opportunity, then I will not take it, because I know if my why is not there, there wouldn't be joy, there wouldn't be happiness. It would be another monotony of work, and I will lose my creative edge, and I don't want that to happen. So I really, really encourage you, if you're looking at any kind of art, and I'm telling you, art products are not cheap. They're not cheap to buy. When I bought the first Stampin' Up! Stamp many years ago, 19 years ago, I remember a stamp cost me that was a rubber stamp, maybe about $15, and I would get a few rubber stamps. But now there's nothing under $20, and if there are smaller stamps, and everything costs. Paper costs, ink costs, everything costs money. And if hobby becomes a money spent with nothing out, with no fruition, then that hobby means nothing. So it's not about how much money you spend into that hobby, but it is how much joy do you get by keeping that hobby constant, if that makes sense. And so as I was talking, you saw the 2 cards that I made, and here's the bonus card I was talking to you about that I created. So instead of having 2, here's the 3rd one, creating the same stamp set that I used, and this time I'm using metallic ink on black cardstock. Anyway, as I was yapping around, I really encourage you to look at whatever you're doing, instead of getting constantly bombarded by social media and all the things that companies keeping on pouring at us. And I'm not, don't take me wrong, they're all beautiful. I still get attracted to many of them, but I do try to keep my why ahead of everything. And I want to keep the sanity of creativity versus becoming insane, becoming crazy or mindless about what I'm doing. Mindfulness is so important in this day and age that we live in, and I want to be mindful of that. I want to be mindful of my time, my place, where I am in that time, in that that period that I am, and I want to be aware of those things and make sure that in all that I don't lose my happiness. I don't lose my purpose. I don't lose my why. And I hope you see that in my art. You see that joy that I share, that I feel when I create these things. I hope I've encouraged you to not be discouraged by what anyone else has or doesn't have, but look at what you have and search for your why. If it is the why, then search for your why. If it is the what, then search for your what. Whatever it is, that is your passion, that is the forefront of your creativity. Keep that in the front of you, and then look at your projects, then look at the things that you want to do, and I promise you, your art will take a completely different turn, and you will start enjoying doing what you love the most. Anyway, here I've just finished up this card, and I just wanted it to look like a little galaxy out there, the flowers having a little galaxy sky behind it. Actually, the video and the pictures that you will see ahead really doesn't do much justice, because there's so much of shine because of that metallic paint that I've used, and they're just beautiful. And one of the things I wanted to share was all these cards that I make this point forward, and even in the last two videos that I've made, couple of videos that I've made, none of these products are given to me by any company. Though I have a disclaimer there, many of them, almost all of them that I use for these projects are all bought by me. And I just want to make sure you know that you know, you don't have to have all the cards in the world, all the stamps in the world. Whatever you have, you can make the best out of it, and you can come up with something really beautiful because you have your why ahead of you. And so anyway, I am just putting these pieces together and finishing up these cards. And here's that last bonus card I talked about, the first one and the second one here. If you have any questions regarding any of these cards, because I blabbed away and I didn't explain anything, please leave that in the comment box, and I will try my best to respond to every one of you. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.